Just let it start
Okay.
stream.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Administration Committee for the City of Harvard, November 19th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Call the meeting to order. Looks like Alderman Lavallee, Alderman Kriete, and Alderwoman Chair Haderlein are all present, so we have our quorum. We don't need to deal with item number 3. No one has to, yeah. I thought, wow, you're really crossing that one out. Okay, public comment. No public comment. Okay, do I have a motion to approve minutes of October 14th, 2025?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, John. Second?
I will second it.
Thank you, Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion approved. Approve the closed session minutes of September 17th, 2025.
I'll motion to accept the minutes of the closed sessions of September 17th, 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion by Kriete, second by Lavallee.
Lord, myself.
All in favor? Okay. Thank you. Motion to approve the closed session minutes of October 14th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 14th, 2025.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes for the closed session of October 14th, 2025 are approved. Item number 8 is a discussion and potentially action on an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Harvard and the Harvard Fire Protection District. So we have our fire chief here, so if you want to...
I got a few handouts for you guys. I'm going to hand out them real quick. And while I'm doing that,
Turn your microphone on.
Please make sure your mic's on.
I can sit at the table. All right, so I'm going to start off with a couple of handouts. While I'm doing that, you want me to, can I still hear me as I walk around through the microphone? While I
Yeah, maybe wait till you're
Yeah.
close to the mic,
I'll
just to
do
be sure
this,
everybody
And then you guys can pass them around.
can. Okay.
So just to start off, I guess I want to apologize. This whole IGA came on a little quicker than what I had anticipated. I actually don't know how the city's attorney was asked to contact the district's attorney in regards to the IGA. So I was working on it, working on a proposal for you guys. This was on my radar, things that I wanted to do. Ann Nolte and I had some conversations just from some properties that we were working on together. So here nor there, I mean, I'm glad we're having the discussion now because I wanted to have the discussion, and I read over some of the comments and questions, concerns that the mayor had at your last meeting and some of the council members. So I want to be able to address those because I did read the meeting minutes from the previous meetings. So just to kind of start off, what our intentions with this intergovernmental agreement as a district is to have the ability and the say when it comes to all things fire prevention, fire suppression, and life safety code. So sprinkler systems and alarm systems and life safety code falling in, to making sure the exits are adequate and where they need to be and those types of things. What it doesn't put on us, it doesn't change anything in terms of building codes and as far as mechanical, electrical, the concrete, the bricks and mortar portions of things. We're just all things fire is what we're looking to do. And why do we want that? Because we want to have a say in terms of what we're gonna require for sprinklers. So we would want 5,000 square feet, we would want sprinklers. Now, if somebody comes in and says, we're 5,100 square feet and, we're non-combustible building, blah, 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 they would come to us asking for a variance from that code to not have to put those sprinklers. So that would take the burden off the city for having to do that. So that's kind of the background and why we want to look at, or why we're looking at doing that. Just for reference, this is not an uncommon thing in McHenry County. I reached out to the city of McHenry, Huntley, Algonquin, Lake in the Hills, all these other municipalities, and they have these IGAs with their fire districts. Obviously, with Crystal Lake, they're a municipal fire department, so they would be void from that. Because with the city of Harvard and the Harvard Fire District, the city of Harvard is the authority having jurisdiction. So when it comes to fire stuff, plan review and code enforcement, that's where we're looking for that IGA to give the fire district the authority having jurisdiction in terms of just all things fire. Some other concerns that I read up on, it's kind of deceiving. I contacted Deb today and got a copy of what B&F, what their plan review schedule is. I think the one that was posted online with the meeting minutes was just a small portion of that. Also, the handouts that are going around, I gave you a copy of what we would be proposing as a fee schedule. So if you go through that, and I actually took one that we recently did in Marengo and put it to what it would look like if B&F, and I'm not B&F's, billing people, I'm just, going by what I see on paper, we're apples to apples or maybe just a little bit cheaper. And when I say a little bit cheaper, I mean $30 in one instance and $120 in another instance. Because what you don't see in B&F's is when you look at just just so you understand the differences, when you look at sprinkler systems under the fire protection, it's not just the 50 to 99 sprinkler heads for $625. It's that $625, plus doing the rough inspection of it, the rough-in of the sprinkler system is another $200. So with ours, it's all-encompassing. So ours, it shows $800 for that same thing, but that includes the rough inspection, the final inspection, all of those extra inspections are all included in what we're billing. We just chose to streamline it and incorporate all of that. So it looks like it's higher, but it's not because we don't have the add-ons that you would see in B&F. Those are all encompassing. So in reality, when you go through it, just for the sprinkler system at B&F, compared to ours, you're talking $35 difference, $30 difference. So our fees are very similar to B&F, which you're currently. Now, would things be doubled up? No. I know that was a concern that maybe they would be getting double billed for the same services. If we move forward with this IGA and you feel that it would be beneficial, they would no longer be doing those inspections. So therefore, anybody coming in to build in this town would not be paying B&F to do those fire inspections and those plan reviews. That would be, the Harvard Fire Protection District would be doing those. So they wouldn't be paying two different entities to do those reviews.
Can I ask a question, just for
Sure.
clarity? So I'm looking at the copy you made of the document I sent you earlier today,
Yes,
and under the fourth page, under plan and review fee schedule, so looking at 100 to, 1 to 100 sprinkler heads at $450, then what you're saying is on the page after that, they would also charge an additional $250 for rough inspection on that as well?
that would be my understanding.
Okay.
Yes. So if you look under fire protection, yes. So 1 to 100 would be $450. And then if you go down over, yes, so then you would have the rough inspection. I would assume that they would charge that because you're going to go and do an inspection.
Okay.
So you go out to the site, you do that inspection, that would be an additional $200.
So then in yours, the 21 to 100, that $800 for your fee schedule includes plan review and inspection?
And inspection, yep. And what we do is, we would give them, they get guaranteed 2 inspections, the rough and the final, and then we would give them 1 re-inspection at no charge, and then if we had to go out there a 4th time, or a second re-inspection, then we would bill for that second re-inspection. What else was there? Trying to find your sheet with the questions that we had from the minutes. In terms of how this, how can the Harvard Fire Protection provide this service? Well, we've agreed, the 2 districts, Marengo Fire Protection District and the Harvard Fire Protection District, we are working out the details of an IGA to share our fire marshal services in Marengo, at the Fire Department of Marengo, and I'm sure most of you know that I'm the chief of both. We have a certified plan review individual who works in our bureau. He comes to us from the city of Elgin. He spent 18 years in the city of Elgin as the fire marshal there, and he did all of their plan review and oversaw their inspection program. They have a fairly large plan review or fire bureau. He's got 40 years of experience. He's got more letters behind his name than most, and one of them is a doctorate's, so he knows what he's doing. Most of the fire inspectors and plan reviewers in the county already knew Ron Sessions prior to coming to Marengo, so we're very fortunate to have him. We also have Assistant Chief Pliva, who runs Marengo's Fire Bureau. He would also be involved in that. So those 2 gentlemen would be the ones that would be conducting the plan reviews and inspections. What happens, I know we got on the books potentially a formula producing factory coming into town here, fairly large facility. And I'll give you an example, during Ron's tenure in Elgin, Sherman Hospital came in. That's way too much for one guy to try to do a plan review on. So they subbed out, the city of Elgin subbed out FSCI and utilized theirs because they have a team of people similar to BNF that do these things, so they can put multiple people on that, and we would do the same. We would, if a Sherman Hospital or that formula company comes in and it's too much or too large of a project for us to handle, we would sub out with BNF, and we would still do the inspection side of things as far as on-site stuff, the sprinkler systems, the rough-ins, all those things. But the actual plan review part of it, if you're talking 20, 30,000 heads and doing those calculations, we would sub that out to BNF. Now, we're not going to double charge. It would be a minimal or nominal fee of probably, I think we have it $75 per inspection to go out there and witness those things. So it's pretty nominal. So it would still be a savings to the developer in that.
Would you also need to sub out for large multifamily developments?
So multifamily, no. Unless it's, a 400-unit apartment building, then yes.
Okay.
But mostly the multifamily units we're going to see here, no. We wouldn't need to do that.
How many people are certified in your organization?
2 right now.
Are they full-time?
They both work part-time. And that's the thing. I mean, they'll work more. Right now, Ron works 2 5-hour days for Marengo. We can't keep him busy enough. So between the 2 communities and the developments going on between the 2 communities, I think that, that'll give him more to do. The other big part of what Ron's going to do in that IGA is help me develop an inspection program, which has been lacking here in town in terms of already established businesses. So doing life safety inspections where we go in and we look for fire hazards, exit lights are working appropriately, fire extinguishers are being tested and tagged yearly, things that are important and should happen. And then we can catch the things that we've been finding, residents living in businesses and things like that. We can catch those now. And that's important. But those are just life safety inspections that would be a part of that. So, And for the record, I am currently, I've actually just talked to one of the aldermen in Marengo today again about it, looking at doing the same thing in Marengo. We had an IGA there that, through changeovers and fire chiefs and mayors, just kind of got lost to the wayside. So we're trying to bring that back, and that's the basis of this IGA. Same language.
So is that what this was?
That's just a fee schedule, just because I wanted to be able to address the fees. The
Okay.
IGA, I don't know, did you guys have that from your attorney at your meeting?
Yeah, we had.
Okay,
Yeah,
From the
this
district to us, yes.
Yeah.
draft,
Yes,
yeah.
So-
our attorneys have already reviewed that.
yeah. So the IGA, I just wanted to bring the fee schedule so we could discuss that, because I know that was a huge concern. It looked like, from the meeting minutes that I read, that, it looked like our fees were significantly higher than what BNF would be, but I think it's deceiving because our inspections and all that are wrapped up into one number. We don't break it out like BNF does.
So does B&F do these inspections for us
Yes.
now? Oh, okay.
And I know the city's been great about getting us plans. We get them all the time when a new business comes in. And I think from me, starting, I'm only gonna be here 6 months, and then, where we're at now and what we're looking at in the future, the board's just agreed for me to be here for another 3 years. So I wanna start making these changes where before it was kind of in limbo. When am I leaving? When am I, but now we know it's gonna be long-term, so now I can start pushing to make these changes. And I think it's a positive change, for the community. Most contractors, most builders, I just ran into this the other day in Marengo, they just assume that the fire department is the authority having jurisdiction when it comes to fire suppression and those things. And we have the capability of doing that.
So you didn't do it before just because you didn't have qualified personnel, or?
I do believe they did it before. I can't tell you what it was 10 years ago. I know that, Harvard, we still do have a battalion chief who was doing their plan reviews, but he works full-time in another department. And his promotions, moving up in the ranks in his other department, took away from his time and ability to do those. What I don't know is if it was just a courtesy that we got those plans and we did those reviews. I know we never billed for them. We just
Like that?
passed this billing ordinance recently because we need it for in the county. It's like a Lumatank is doing a bunch of work, so we passed this fee schedule as an ordinance in the district. So in the county, we are the authority having jurisdiction in the county. It's just within the city limits. The municipality has that unless you enter into an agreement.
So in McHenry County, in your district, you do this?
Yep, we're the authority having jurisdiction.
Okay.
Yep. It's just within the city limits, and that's for every district in the county.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And so then you work with the county?
The county, yep, P&D, planning and
P&D.
development.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm sorry, I might have missed this when I was out. So can you explain what your plan review entails for the building site, mechanical and electrical?
So we put that in there that we need the mechanical and electrical only because we need those drawings. So if you have mechanical where you have detectors within the system, mechanical system, that's all we're looking at.
Okay, all right.
We're not looking at an electrical because that's going to give us all the devices, fire alarms and pull stations and those things. You don't just see those, you're going to see those as part of the electrical
So you
plan
need
as
all
well.
of those plans to pick out the portions of what you're
Correct.
going to.
Yep,
Okay.
we're not inspecting the electrical and
Gotcha,
mechanical.
okay.
Yeah, so therefore, BNF in that instance, or HRL does it for
Okay,
that.
yep.
They would be the ones that would be billing for that plan review and doing those things.
Okay.
We wouldn't bill for that.
Says here also, you guys collect and receive all fees
Just for what we,
for what you're doing here.
right, just for
Right,
the work
there's
that
no-
we're doing. Yep.
Just
All
for-
the other work would be
The city
either,
gets nothing out of it, as far as the fees.
right, through the IGA, we would be the ones that would be getting paid to do the work. And I don't know what the city has worked out with HRL. Or BNF, if you guys get a portion of those plan reviews, I don't know. So,
No,
You know, if the city then, like, unless you're asked to do these things, say new development, if there's something that looks like a fire hazard, do you refer to them or do they independently look for it on their own?
no,
For an inspection, if you see something?
I think, no, it's two
How does
different
that
things.
work? You're not
It's-
gonna be
We're
that-
looking at two different things. So you're asking about, geez, now I'm not gonna remember the address, but they were at our last meeting about the barn with the
Brink
living.
Street.
Right?
Yeah.
Brink Street, thank you. That's a separate, that's a life safety issue. As a fire district, we have the authority to go in and inspect any business in town in regards to life safety. We don't bill for that. The only time we would bill for that is if it became a problem. We go and we do the inspection, and we say, here's your violations, they don't fix them. Let's say it's that exit sign. Okay, we come back in 30 days, your exit sign's still not fixed, we're gonna write it up again, you got another 30 days to fix it. We come back after that second, now it's been 60 days, we come, we look at that exit light, you still haven't fixed it, you have a week, 7 days to fix it, after 7 days, we're gonna start billing you $50 a day until it's fixed, whatever that number is, right? That's the only time we would bill for those types of things. In terms of in a plan review, we have to get a physical plan for a build. Or and the things that we can catch is, like if somebody's gonna rehab a building and they're gonna, the number's 50%, if they're gonna do over 50% of rehab in that building, it needs to be brought up to the most current codes. One of the things that the district and the city would need to work on together with this is to agree to be working off the same building codes. We both adopt the same codes, whether, it's IBC or whatever we use, they need to be the same. That way it's consistent with the year, where, we're using the most current year of those building codes, life safety codes, those things. So we're consistent across the board, which, you're gonna wanna do anyway, right, as would we.
So currently, right now, we contract with BNF for our plan reviews and inspections on all of these activities. So like, for example, Pet Dine, they did all of the plan reviews and sprinkler system out there. They bill us for that.
Okay.
And then we absorb those costs with the permit fees.
Right.
So our permit fees are formulated to absorb those costs, but then we in turn pay BNF through the city for those services.
so we collect the fees.
We collect the permit
Okay,
fees,
and
yes.
then sub out
Correct.
the different, okay.
Right. So basically what this would entail is for us to look at our fee schedule and to factor out the fees that the fire department would be billing and collecting, and then we would only charge the permit fees based on the outsourcing that we would need to collect for the HLR services, if we were to remove the fire services out of our
Right.
department.
And I would say this, just to add to this is I'm sure you guys can see that we're very comparable, a little less than BNF. We have no desire to make this difficult on anybody who wants to come into this town. We need growth just as much as the town needs growth, because our budgets and what we can do, to put people in the station, those things are a direct impact of growth, and that's the only way we're gonna get that. So we're not gonna make this more difficult. We're hoping it streamlines things and maybe makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, this isn't a moneymaker for the fire district. This is, we just wanna make sure we're meeting our needs. Because I could sit here for an hour and talk to you guys about it, but I'd probably bore you to death. But there's little intricacies and things that, as a fire department, fire district, that we like to see on buildings, strobes and different things. But this gives us the authority to be able to make sure those things happen.
Well, and certainly you're the ones that will be working with the facilities or at the facilities if there's ever a problem.
Right.
So you're going to know how things were set up.
Yep.
And so we would have to have some process for, making sure that the developer.
So you inspection on single-family homes when they're first built? Or
So
no?
the inspection, really for an inspection on a single-family home, we're gonna look at the plan. We're gonna verify that they have smoke and COs, that they're hardwired, those things. Address signs are there appropriately. One of the extra things that we would start doing, is ensuring, you'd be amazed, you get a black mailbox with black letters, because people don't want their numbers on their house for whatever reason. And I see that time and time and time again, it just gets missed, because, people get busy and inspectors are trying to get to the next one, it just gets missed. So there are things, driveway width, access issues, those are all things that we look at. I don't foresee us enforcing a residential fire sprinkler. Do I think they're good? Yes, but I think as individuals, we all have the right to make decisions on what we want in our home. I know there's Huntley
Didn't
Fire.
Huntley? Yeah.
Huntley does that, they require,
Yeah.
but only in the rural areas of Huntley. Within the city limits of Huntley, the city, that's one of the things in their intergovernmental agreement, the city said, we're not gonna force this for it to happen. But in the county where they have all of the authority, they require that.
Okay.
I kind of understand why they might do that, because there's no water access, right?
Right, but I guess I look at it, sprinkler systems can fail.
They
Right,
can.
and if somebody's on vacation and a sprinkler goes off and it fills their basement, there's a lot of things that can happen. I like the residential sprinklers in the mechanical room, makes sense, where all your mechanics are, in the basement, washer, dryer, all those things, right? But I'm on the fence.
Well, and it's a huge cost,
It
right?
is.
For-
It is.
To install that in your home, so it could be cost prohibitive for a lot of people,
Yeah.
so I understand the trepidation for it, so.
I like that they have Del Webb, though, has the strobe light for every address.
Yep,
So when 911 calls,
Yeah.
it's cookie cutter.
Right.
Be real hard in
Right.
that massive complex to kind of.
right.
Right,
And that's,
like-
and that's some things that
So
have
that's a
been
nice
missed here.
option.
In some of our newer strip malls here, in reality, each one of those units should have its own strobe light.
Mhm.
So if there's an activation, we know exactly which unit to go to. We're not searching for
Right.
units. Those are the things that we see that we would like that may not necessarily be pushed by, B&F or whoever, right? So those are just the little things that, we like to see.
Well, one thing I've always thought we should consider doing is to the issue of addresses of properties, it's not only an issue for the fire district, it's also an issue for our police department.
Oh, for sure.
And so it's a city ordinance is required you to have your house number on your house. So we have on occasion where it's come to our attention, use code enforcement to get that corrected. But I also feel like they do out in the county, where they have a permanent metal reflective sign that has the actual address.
Mhm.
And that's something that we're going to require now that the Marengo Fire and Harvard Fire are going to do that IGA for that agreement for share services. So that is one thing we are going to push out in the county, because that's one thing that we do down in Marengo. If you build a house out in the county, you are going to install one of those green signs, because they can have it on their house like the county ordinance says, but if it's a half a mile down
Yes,
driveway,
oftentimes, those houses are so far away from the road, how do
Right.
you know it's the right address? That makes a lot of sense. But it also makes sense at night, when it's really dark and you've got, to find the house you need to get to, that makes it really easy for first responders, but,
It's huge
we've not
for us,
really
too.
discussed that issue, but, but relative to this, maybe if the district is looking to go that way and there is an IGA in place, maybe that's something that council would consider partnering with the district.
Yeah.
No, it's big, because when we do the rural storm restoration, it's saved us, I can't tell you how many times.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Like the tornadoes at Bourbonnais and anything further south, utility looks for those green signs.
Yep, yep.
Because the GPS doesn't really cooperate in those type of areas.
Then it
It
becomes
is
very
beneficial.
consistent throughout the community. You can figure out what the address is of the property, so.
When they're half a mile apart, it's really tough too.
Well, and some, like on my street, what you would think would be the normal numbering pattern, but it in the middle of the block, it changes to the next
Right.
whole number or 100 number.
Yeah.
So you go from, what I would think like 1208 to 1210 to 1212 to 12, no, it goes like 1210, 1300,
Yeah.
right? And it's in the same block, and you're like, that doesn't make
No.
a whole lot of sense, right? So, and if you're a first responder, you're looking for that address, and seconds are important
Yeah.
here. And sometimes the address is on the mailbox, sometimes it's not.
Right.
That's not a requirement from the city, but it is required to be on the house. The problem is, it's not in the same place on every house. Sometimes it's
Right.
above the garage, sometimes it's vertical, by the
the
front
door.
door.
Yep.
Sometimes it's over the door horizontal, and it's like,
Has that always been a thing?
excuse me?
Has that always been a thing, that be on the house, or is that?
Yeah, that's a city ordinance requirement, yes.
Might have some-
Well,
You're in violation, John.
I'll make sure to contact code
Yeah,
enforcement.
code enforcement.
Your Alderman,
No, it is a requirement for that very reason, for public safety, so.
Are these the most current numbers here, these fees? And
Yes.
when's the last time they were changed?
August.
Do you guys
We just
have a
updated.
schedule for when they get reviewed?
We review them yearly.
Okay.
And typically what we'll do is Marengo utilizes FSCI, so we'll look at what FSCI is doing, we'll look at what B&F's doing, and we try to stay there or less.
And so
I mean,
these
our
are,
employee costs are much lower, so it's easier for us to do that. I mean,
And-
we're significantly lower than FSCI, but
yeah, consultants are always
Yeah.
higher. So these are the fees for something in an unincorporated area of the Marengo Fire District. These are the current
Correct.
fees?
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And the current fees for Harvard,
For unincorporated. Yep.
unincorporated?
Yep.
Okay.
They're listed in the intergovernmental agreement as well.
I mean, I can give you an example of, we did Port King Packing, if you're familiar with them, south of Marengo. They're putting on a huge addition, like 33,000 square feet, for their alarm system. This one is, fire alarm system was $1,100 for a 33,000 almost 34,000 square foot building. And the plan review and inspections, all encompassing, were $2,020. If you were to take the same building and go with B&F, and what they charge, we're $140 cheaper. So we're about the same. We're right there. Yeah. B&F is not overcharging by any means, so.
And then I guess how would this? Okay. So then, since you're billing directly to the entity, then you would give them some kind of a paperwork and then they submit it to us?
So what, if we did it within the city, and Deb can probably, ultimately she would have to make the decision on this, but like at the county, if I want to build something in the county, I go to the county and they say, okay, here's your permit fees, you need to contact the fire district, and then we give them they'll submit a set of plans to us. We like to get them electronically. It's a lot easier. And then that process starts, and then we invoice them, the fire district invoices them, and they pay us directly. So I would assume that a developer would come in, like the Duncan, they came in here to pull their permits. Within those permit fees was the inspection fees for any fire suppression, fire alarms, all of that. Like you said, you added that into the permit fees. Instead, they would just say, okay, now your next step is contact the fire district, and then they're going to work with you on the plans that they need and what their fees will be. So it's pretty common.
Right, but I'm just saying then, once you do the inspection and you give them some kind of a
Occupancy.
compliance or whatever,
Yep,
and then
yep, we
they
would
would
give
turn,
them
in turn,
occupancy.
turn that into us.
Yep, so, it would be
Oh,
set
you
up to where our inspectors would go in, they'd write a letter of occupancy approval. They would forward that to the building department here, so either Ann or whoever you guys decide you want that, hey, we've been through the building, we're giving them occupancy. It's, as long as they're good with you with their electrical and all the other stuff and all of their inspections were done.
So we wouldn't sign off on final occupancy until we receive that from the fire department among all of the other requirements that they would have to meet for the permitting process.
Okay, and then what about for the ones, if you do a welfare check, so to speak, would we be aware of any violations you found, or would that be between
In
you
terms,
and the building owner?
for a current, occupied building, if we're in there doing inspection, yes, if it is a non-life safety issue. So what I mean by that is we're doing an inspection in there and we find out that, hey, it looks like there's an apartment in here, and we contact, Ann, is there supposed to be an apartment in here? Nope, not supposed to be an apartment there. Okay, well, there's an apartment in here. Because then now it comes back to the city. We would have the authority to tell them they can't live there based on life safety, but really it would come down to city ordinances and what that, is it, a B1 area or what, how is it rated? And that would really come back to the city. So, because we don't have the authority to go into somebody's home. It's just business. Areas of occupancy that are.
Now, you guys
assembled
would
and
if
we can go.
a homeowner asked you to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We get that quite a bit.
Okay.
Hey, can you just come in and look at my smoke detectors and see where I'm keeping my gas cans? Just things like that.
In fact, I think the district was giving away smoke detectors
Oh,
and
yeah.
helping installing them, right?
Yep,
So-
we still run that program. We do a smoke detector giveaway.
If our building department, though, is on an inspection and they request the fire department to come with them on that inspection, then they can
Yeah.
go in with us.
Yeah.
If Ann's on a scheduled inspection, like Brink Street.
Right.
then
So
they can
it's
accompany us on that.
tricky. It's like the rules are tricky. They give us a lot of leeway. I'll give you an example. We had a pallet factory one time. The city couldn't just walk into their business and be like, whoa. But they could stand outside from the road and look at it, and they could see that there was a ton of issues in there. So they called us and hey, we can see open electrical boxes and there's sawdust piled all the way up to the panel. Can you guys go in there and do a business inspection? Sure. So we have the authority because it's a life safety violation. We can do those types of things. So that's where it's nice, working with Ann has been great, and the people up here, it's been great, So I don't foresee it being an issue moving forward.
I think if the council agrees to go forward with the IGA, obviously our attorneys have looked through it and done some red lines. That would have to go back to their attorney for, that kind of
That back and forth.
negotiation. But I think from the city's perspective, the main thing is we would need to go through our fee schedule to
Yeah.
adjust them accordingly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we've had a great relationship with the fire district for these kind of life safety issues, and in principle, I believe it's a good thing to do. We just need to work out the details.
Do we have a contract with these guys until when?
Yeah.
That was going to be my next point. So we do, previous administration signed one in March or April, I believe. I don't remember the terms of that. I would like to read through it, though, because I don't know that it'll affect anything, only because we could still use them for the other plan review and inspection services outside of the fire safety, if the contract doesn't specifically say we have to use them for all services.
And I would like to, for that, when you talk to them and you read through that contract, I would like to retain them for the larger buildings that we're gonna deal with. So if that can be a part of that contract, hey, you're gonna be our go-to when we get these larger developments. So,
Yeah. I believe it might be a 3-year because Dave Nelson signed a 3-year initially, and I think it was just renewed, but I will double check that and see what that looks like. And then we would have to change our ordinance, obviously, too, for our fee structures
Right.
if we proceeded with that, but that's not a difficult.
yeah, and
task.
like I said, if you guys have a council meeting next week? Or
Yes.
Yes.
Is this something you were gonna bring up next week?
Up to this committee.
Oh.
Good.
Well, if it's Tuesday still, because I can
Yes,
come
it is
back up.
Tuesday,
If you want me to be here, I can come back up if the other council members have questions.
We might be better doing that December 9th, just to give more time for review and to look at things, just to make
Sure.
sure everything's,
Well, if, yeah, I mean. the
Especially if there's
attorney's
red
gotta do
lines, I mean.
something.
what's that?
If the attorney's gotta do something, there's gonna be a little time in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure, I might even have TJ read over our contract with
Contract with
BNF
BNF,
too, just to
yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
we're not violating anything.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's.
Depends on how clear it
that's-
is. I read it, but it's been a while, so.
That's a good idea, but yeah, I agree. I mean, in concept, I think this is great, to have that relationship with the fire district. You're already doing it in the unincorporated areas of your district, and so there's that consistency. And you're going to be the responders to any issue at any of these facilities that are built. So it makes sense to me that you guys are doing that upfront inspection and signing off on it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just the devil's in the details.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we just need to work out. I would say, I would favor pursuing this.
Okay, you guys just let me know what you need. I can be,
Okay.
if you're gonna do it December 9th, I'll make sure that I'm here.
Great.
I am gonna sneak out, because this is meeting 2, and 1 at 6 right before I left for here, and
Okay.
there's one that started at 7. I'm gonna try to catch the tail end of.
Right back.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. So item number 9, discussion action on amendment to Chapter 2, Section 204D2, to include the deputy city clerk as authorized signer on vouchers, checks, or orders in the absence of the city clerk. So I noticed that the Chapter 2's in here.
That would be on page 4, chapter 2.
It's highlighted, very nicely
204
highlighted. Yes,
D2.
yes. So it would just be adding language there to,
To include the deputy city clerk as signer in place of the city clerk in his absence.
In lieu of.
In lieu of, in his absence.
So in other words, only time they would have authority is when the city clerk is asked.
is absent, right?
Right.
And that would give us, our internal controls ask for 3 signatures on checks or vouchers or anything of financial transactions, so that would just give us that third signer, although she would not be able to sign if the city clerk was available.
Okay,
Only if he was not available.
okay. So if the city clerk were available and didn't want to sign something, then couldn't sneak
That
it
would work.
over and.
Right. So yeah, that basically prevents someone from going to the deputy city clerk instead of the city clerk.
Right.
Right.
Right,
So in other words, the city clerk is ill, can't come in and
Yeah.
sign, on vacation, those
Right.
kind of scenarios.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the 3 signature, every check does require 3 signatures today, and the city clerk is one of them, so that's mayor, city clerk, and the treasurer. We're just asking for the deputy city.
but now if the treasurer or the mayor are not available, checks don't get signed.
This is true, although we try to coordinate it, and it's, up until this point, it really hasn't been a problem because our city clerk has always been there.
Right.
Because she was also an employee, so
Yeah.
we've always been able to coordinate it. So in this case, our deputy city clerk's an employee, so we would have that
Sure.
third coordination.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay,
And we had more control over their schedules to schedule checks because they were an employee. The
Right.
city
right,
clerk
so they're
currently is
there,
not.
right. So do we need any sort of motion or just
Just to send this.
send this to city
For
council?
ordinance revision.
Okay, motion?
Motion send to city council that include the deputy city clerk as authorized signer on vouchers, checks, or orders in absence of the city clerk.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Lavallee, second by Kriete, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's going to city council. Item number 10, discussion action on McHenry County Law Enforcement Regional Training Center membership. And
This is a renewal from the training that was authorized last year. If you recall, the chief felt that using the regional training center would help us better keep our officers trained and up to the state statute requirements. This training center is all-inclusive of everything, takes it out of the in-house hands. We don't have to send them all over. We can send them to one location and make sure we're compliant with all of our regulations.
So presumably it's successful this last year?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that they-
That's
Very
state
much
of the
so.
art.
Yep.
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen
Really
it.
nice.
Yeah. What's that?
Well, we can
We
arrange a
should
tour.
do a field trip, yeah.
Can arrange a
So-
tour there, we can arrange a tour of Narcam, like, NERCOM, I should say.
NERCOM, yeah.
If council ever wanted to do so, we could certainly make those arrangements.
Sounds good.
So this would just need a motion to send to city council for final approval as well.
It's yours, Joel.
You got it. I'll motion to send this to city council as presented.
I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. This is going to city council. Yay. Okay, strategic vision. I don't have anything.
No.
Okay. New business?
I had a question. It's kind of new, but it's old. It's an old topic.
Okay.
Never mind, we're in the wrong committee. Sorry.
Okay.
Structure?
Yeah.
I was going to bring up something for infrastructure since we're all here
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
Except me.
Yeah, I mean, can of worms is where are we at with that guardrail getting fixed? I heard we were going to order it, then we
I
were
will double
going to.
check on that again.
Fix it.
Oh, the
I
bridge?
did send a
Yeah.
message,
Oh,
but
Carl's?
it's possible I got a response to and just missed it, so let
Okay,
me
that's all
double
right.
check.
Just looking for an update,
Yep.
that's all.
That's not a can of worms, so. we're good.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
know it's been talked about a lot,
Yes.
so.
I just wanted to remind the members of the admin committee who are also on infrastructure, we talked at the meeting about the
They're all here.
work under the railroad tracks and
Yeah.
the additional money that was required. We're bypassing admin and just sending that
Yep.
right to council for next week, so
Yeah.
we'll get an approval.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
And then I heard you talking to John about doing might need another
Infrastructure
meeting.
yes.
And
We should do it the third
I
after
was
this
gonna
one.
say, if we
Because
can-
we're all here.
if we can do it, then that would be great for me.
So do we post that immediately following then? How do you do that for time?
Yeah, well,
I'll look
the
over that.
third meeting, the third is it's infrastructure, or
Right.
it's
Admin at
admin.
6:30.
Admin, yeah, it's admin.
But it's for a specific issue, wasn't it?
For infrastructure, yes.
No, admin.
Admin,
For admin.
Yes,
Yeah.
admin is also, yes.
yes.
So I think we could probably schedule one for like 6:30 and next one for 7:30. If the second meeting, or first meeting goes over, there's no problem starting the second meeting
start
late.
early.
You just can't start early.
I would make it 7 then.
7.
Okay.
6:30
Yeah.
and 7.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, and that would work too. If it's,
Yeah.
if it's just a single item, then that makes a lot more sense.
Sure.
Otherwise, we'd have to sit around and wait till our thumbs till.
Right,
Exactly.
yeah, and we don't need.
So
that.
you can all stay, or we'll all be here on the 3rd and you can all
Yeah.
stay a little later.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
I'll have Jeanette go ahead and get that on the schedule then.
Yes.
And it's possible we won't, yes, we will need it. Well, it's possible we won't need it if Director Rousey and the engineer determine that it's not necessarily required, but more of a convenience of the contractor. He does not think it's going to be the case, but he still wanted the engineer to look closely at it, just to make sure we're not spending money we don't need to spend.
Okay.
So I will advise on that.
Sounds
I mean,
good.
isn't it something like the contractor should have looked at it ahead of time before he made the bid? Because
Yes.
Kind of how I feel
I mean,
about it.
Yes.
I know when I worked for a contractor and we messed up the bid,
Yeah.
You
If
ate
it's
it.
You took the
required
heat.
and they didn't
Yeah.
bid for it, I kind
Right.
of feel like that's on you.
And that's kind of why we're thinking maybe it's not a necessity as much as a request for
yeah.
a change order.
Right.
So we'll vet that out and then see how that looks.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?